so early right now, and if you can see outside, it's super gloomy and it's super dark and it's super rainy and I don't want to go outside. Anyways, welcome back to my channel. I'm really excited for today's video. It's going to be really short, really quick, but I just wanted to elaborate a little bit about a couple videos back when I talked about character. I'm around children quite a bit, and I've been observing lately. I've been doing a lot of observing because it's what I'm good at, it's what I'm used to, and today I wanted to elaborate a little bit about a couple of videos back when I talked about character. So today we're going to be talking about character development and kind of what that means. I mentioned that character is something that can be changed, something that can be malleable, something that you can work on over and over again. But I failed to mention that character is also like a habit. We have good habits and we have bad habits. We can change those habits. Yes, it's very hard to change those habits, but it's also hard to change character. That's kind of why they're interchangeable. And we want to make good habits for our children. So we want to focus on the good things that they're doing, not the bad things. We want to emphasize when they do a good deed. We want to emphasize when it's right to, do certain things and when it's wrong to do other things. And if you can try to help them understand that even when a teacher yells at them, even when they're being put down, it's not necessarily because of who they are, because who they are can be changed. You can change your identity. Identity is essentially your set of characteristics, right? But those can be changed. So your identity can be changed based on your mindset and based on your perception. So if, they get a bad report card, or if they're having trouble in school, or if they get yelled at a lot, they tell them that this is not who they are. If they can be whoever they want to be. They can become whoever they want to become. And it's ultimately up to them. That's going to be the driving force. You are essentially with them most of the time. You are their rock. You are the person that needs to lift them up. That's what parents are for. They're like your little safety net. But in a lot of cases, there are working moms and working dads who aren't necessarily with their children all the time, and I know that can be super hard. So we want to develop a sort of safety net that doesn't necessarily involve you, and it doesn't involve money, because I know money can be an issue for a lot of people. We want our kids to develop a safety net of character, one that focuses on social agility, being able to not necessarily like sneak their way through situations, but being able to like go up to a teacher and talk to them, like, listen, like, I want to do better. I want to help myself. Like, what can I do in class that will help me in this way? And the teacher will be more than willing to help them. That goes the same in a work setting, in a relationship setting. Being able to identify where you're going wrong and being able to approach the person in any kind of way that needs to be done, like whether it be loving in a relationship, whether it be inquisitive when you're talking to your teacher, or desperate, I guess, in a work setting. But social agility is definitely one that you want to work on with your child, and I feel like that can be even developed by reading. Reading is probably one of the biggest things that helped me, especially like vocabulary wise and being able to like speak to people, because you can embody characters just like you can change your identity. You can embody these beings in the book. Like, especially if they're young kids, that's how they learn to develop their personality, or like how they talk, how they speak. It's like, it's mostly going to be how you talk, what kind of humor you use, and it's going to be books and TV and movies that they watch. So they're going to want to embody those characters. Another one of those characteristics that we want to develop for our children is grit. Being able to be strong in certain situations and being solid and understanding your value and your worth, and not letting things phase you and bring you down. A lot of kids have trouble with bullying. They get teased, picked on. Other kids have issues with being troublemakers and they get yelled at a lot. Identifying where you're going wrong and being able to help yourself and understand that mindset and try to fix the situation, perceive it in a different way, will inevitably help them overcome this situation. You want to teach them to be strong and not to let things break them, because being strong within themselves will help them to be strong in the way they approach the situation. Whether that being standing up to the bully or going to your teacher and asking for help and saying, look, this isn't me, this isn't who I am, I want to change, I want to be better. Approaching those kids and being like, look guys, like what are you doing? Why are you bullying me? Why are you teasing me? Standing up for yourself, being able to be strong and confident and taking control of the situation. Those are the children that will be better equipped to help themselves in uncomfortable situations, like I talked about last video. Those are the children who are going to be able to adapt to any situation and overcome what's necessary. And yeah. Another thing, probably the most important thing on this list that I have concocted is self-control. And self-control can have so many meanings, or so many parts, I guess, because self-control, when I think of self-control, I immediately think of like having self-control and like not eating, especially because I was fat when I was younger, so I'm totally comfortable in my situation now. I don't like nitpick on what I can and cannot eat. I just choose to eat majority healthy all the time, but with that, it doesn't limit me to, you know, not eating certain things at certain points, if that makes sense. Like, I indulge when I want to indulge. I just listen to my body, and that's kind of the diet that I use. I listen to my body, and when I'm hungry, I eat, but when I want to indulge, I do, but I don't overindulge. So it's a healthy balance, but I worked on it. But so yeah, so when I instantly think of self-control, I think of food, but self-control can cover so many other realms. You know, you need to have self-control when you're with your friends. When you're younger, you have a friend group, right? And you grow old together. And then at some point you realize, wow, these are totally not the people that I want to be with, who I want to become, because you tend to act like the people that are around you, and you tend to develop their tendencies. So if you now know in your head that, wow, these people drink a lot, they do drugs a lot, they, you know, always criticize people, they make fun of people, they're like the gossip group, and you don't want to be with those people, or you don't want your child to be with those people, you have to have allowed your child to develop the characteristics, to develop that self-control, to want to get out of that situation on their own. You can't force them to get out of there. That's why it's so important when they're younger. Like, you can give them all that they need to essentially survive in the world. A child who's going to be successful and who has that self-control when they're young, they're going to be able to take that situation and say, wow, I don't want to be around these people anymore. They're not the kind of people that I want to hang out with, and they're going to do it on their own. So I think talking about self-control when they're young is super important. I think being able to say no when it matters is really important. Being able to say no to your friends when they want to hang out. Being able to say no to drinking. They're going to drink and they're going to do drugs in college. That's a given. Everybody does it. Even the goody two-shoes. You may think that your child is not going to do it because they're so pure and they're so innocent, but no, they're going to do it, and they may like it, they may not. I hear like every single person's footsteps. But yeah, those are just a few things I wanted to elaborate on because I feel like I didn't get to touch them enough in a couple of videos back, and I really think they're super important. And it's something that I've been noticing a lot in my friends. I mean, my friends talk about their parents a lot, and I kind of understand situations where, like, wow, your parent did that, so that's why you do that. You know, parents have a lot of effect on their child, obviously, But it's not just about what they teach their children, it's what they themselves do. So we have to ourselves embody these characteristics. We have to do what we want for our kids because they're going to look up to us. They're going to see what we do. It may not be something we even know. It might be something that somebody else would observe. For example, my one friend, I feel like I'm like exposing her, but my one friend talks about her mom in a not so great way. Let's just put it that way. Her mom has a few issues. She loves her mom to death, right? And her mom has a few issues, and she criticizes those issues. But at the same time, she herself sometimes also does what her mom does. She tends to repeat her mother's habits unknowingly. And someone like me, or any kind of observer who is looking at it from the outside, may notice it, but she might not notice it for herself. She's like, oh, I will not be like my mother. Yet she's becoming her mother. And when she has a kid, it's just going to keep repeating itself. And this is not the only time I've seen this situation. This happens over and over and over again. So it's honestly up to you to decide what you want for your child, because you are going to be the biggest factor in their life. If you want your child's childhood to be different than yours, then you have to own up to your shit. You have to own up to it, and you have to stop getting out of that conditioned mentality that we're all stuck in. You need to be the person to change the cycle. And that's it. With that, because I kind of went on a little rant, and I'm super tired and it's really early. I should probably go. Well, anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed something. I hope you learned something, because that's really the goal.